Not everyone wants to change. But if you're here, you're different. Welcome to Gamma Prod. Let's get started. Let me guess. You've told yourself, I'll start tomorrow when I feel motivated. And then tomorrow shows up and motivation disappears like it owes you money. Motivation is basically that friend who promises to help you move apartments and suddenly stops replying the moment you send the address. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Motivation is actually a terrible strategy for getting things done. Not because you're lazy, not because you lack discipline, but because your brain literally isn't designed to run on motivation. Now here's the good news. There is a better system, one that works even when you're tired, stressed, or running on 2 hours of sleep and bad decisions. And no, it doesn't involve waking up at 5 a.m. or taking ice baths while journaling about your purpose. By the end of this video, you're going to have a simple, psychology-backed framework that you can use immediately. No hype, no complicated routines, just something that actually works. Let's break it down. Most productivity advice sounds like this. Just get motivated. Find your why. Watch this every morning and you'll feel inspired. And yeah, motivation feels incredible. At first. You clean your room. You start a brand new routine. You redesign your entire life plan. You download 3 habit apps. Maybe 4, let's be honest. 2 days later, you're back on the couch, staring at the ceiling, trying to figure out what exactly went wrong. Yeah, same. Here's the real problem. Motivation is emotional, and emotions are extremely unstable. Some days you feel unstoppable, like I could conquer the entire world before breakfast. Other days, replying to one email feels like a heroic achievement. So if your productivity depends on how you feel, you're basically letting your mood decide your future. And that is exactly why people keep saying things like, I know what to do, I just don't do it. I start strong, then I disappear. I'm disciplined for 2 weeks, and then I vanish from existence. That's not laziness. That's not a personality flaw. That's a design flaw. You're using motivation for a job it was never built to do. All right, let's get into the psychology. Quick, clear, no boring lecture. I promise. Number 1, dopamine adaptation. Motivation is driven by dopamine, which is basically your brain's anticipation chemical. New goal? Dopamine spike. New routine? Spike. This is the new me. Huge spike. Your brain loves novelty. It's obsessed with it. But here's the catch. Dopamine adapts. What feels exciting on day 1 feels normal by day 7. And by day 14, it starts feeling like work. That's not failure. That's biology. Honestly, if motivation lasted forever, gyms would be empty after January. Number 2, emotional dependency. When you rely on motivation, you're basically saying, I'll take action if I feel good. The problem? Your emotions depend on things like sleep, stress, food, the weather, and sometimes one weird comment someone made to you 3 years ago that randomly shows up in your brain at 2 a.m. Now suddenly, your productivity depends on things you don't fully control. That's like saying, I'll drive to work if every traffic light is green. Good luck with that. Number 3, bursts without momentum. Motivation creates bursts, not consistency. You sprint, you stop. You feel guilty. You wait for motivation to come back again. And that cycle is exhausting. But long-term behavior change doesn't come from intensity. It comes from momentum. There's a Stanford behavior scientist named B.J. Fogg who explains this perfectly. He says, people change best by feeling successful, not by feeling motivated. Motivation doesn't create small wins. Systems do. So, if motivation doesn't work, what actually does? Here's the framework. 3 parts, and they work together. Systems over goals. Identity over willpower. Minimum action over intensity. Let's break them down. Number 1, systems over goals. Goals are outcomes. Systems are behaviors. A goal says, I want to lose 10 kilograms. A system says, I walk for 20 minutes after dinner. Goals rely on motivation. Systems remove decisions. You don't wake up every morning debating whether you should brush your teeth. You just do it. Author James Clear explains this perfectly. He says, you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Good systems eliminate the question, do I feel like it today? Number 2, identity-based habits. And honestly, this is the most important one. Your brain is constantly trying to behave in ways that match who you believe you are. So if you see yourself as someone who procrastinates, someone who never finishes things, your behavior will quietly prove that belief true. Identity-based habits flip the entire question. Instead of asking, what should I do? You start asking, what would this type of person do? Not, I'm trying to write, but I'm the kind of person who writes, even when it's messy, even when it's bad. Your brain values consistency more than comfort. Once an action supports your identity, it requires far less motivation. Number 3, this is how you win on your worst days. Most of the time, your brain isn't resisting the task itself, it's resisting the starting cost. So you lower the cost. A lot. 1 page, 1 sentence, 1 push-up, open the document. If it feels almost ridiculously easy, that's perfect, because once you start, momentum takes over. And here's the truth most people miss. Motion creates motivation, not the other way around. All right, let's make this practical. Let's make this real life. What does this actually look like on normal, imperfect, human days? On a low-energy day, your identity becomes, I'm someone who shows up. Your rule becomes, I'll just do 2 minutes. Some days, 2 minutes turns into 20. Some days, it doesn't, and that still counts. Because consistency beats intensity. On a low-confidence day, your identity becomes, I practice, I don't perform. Your rule becomes, just show up privately. Confidence usually arrives after the work. It's honestly the friend who shows up late but still wants credit for being there. On chaotic days, ask yourself one simple question. What's the smallest version of this that I can do today? Maybe it's 30 seconds. Maybe it's opening the file. Maybe it's writing 1 messy sentence. Because even tiny action keeps your identity alive. Here's the truth. You don't need more motivation. You need better systems. Motivation shows up, gets you excited, and then quietly disappears. Systems stay. If you remember only one thing from this video, remember this. Build habits that still work on your worst days, not just your best ones. So here's something you can do today. Pick one habit. Define the smallest possible version of it and connect it to the identity you want to become. That's it. Seriously, don't overcomplicate it. If this helped you, hit like. It genuinely helps more than you think. And subscribe if you want psychology-based self-improvement without the fake hype or unrealistic routines. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to start small. I'll see you in the next one.